The landscape of contemporary cinema and television is often defined not just by the stories that appear on our screens, but by the complex, deeply human individuals who bring those narratives to life with their raw talent and presence. Every so often, the entertainment industry is shaken to its very core by an unexpected tragedy that leaves audiences, colleagues, and loved ones searching for answers in a sudden, overwhelming silence. When a familiar face disappears from the spotlight under tragic circumstances, it forces a collective pause. A moment of profound reflection on the fragile nature of existence and the hidden battles that individuals may be fighting behind the veneer of artistic success and public acclaim. These moments remind us that behind every memorable performance, behind every gripping dramatic portrayal that captures our imagination, there is a real person navigating the intricacies of a deeply complicated world. It is within this quiet, reflective space that we begin to piece together a narrative that is as heartbreaking as it is profound, a story that demands our utmost sympathy, respect, and careful consideration as we attempt to understand the legacy left behind by a truly remarkable talent. Before we delve deeper into the unfolding details of this poignant journey and honor the memory of a life cut tragically short, we kindly invite you to subscribe to this channel, as your continued support allows us to bring you these deeply researched, respectful, and comprehensive retrospectives on the events and figures that shape our cultural landscape. To truly understand the weight of a sudden loss, one must first look back at the artistic journey that made the individual so beloved by those who followed their career. The world of performance is notoriously volatile, demanding an immense amount of emotional vulnerability and dedication from those who choose to pursue it as their life's calling. For decades, the subject of our retrospective navigated this challenging terrain with a unique, arresting energy that set them apart from their peers, earning a reputation as a versatile and deeply committed performer capable of anchoring complex narratives. From the gritty, uncompromising streets depicted in groundbreaking television dramas to the intense psychological depths of modern cinematic thrillers, this artist possessed a rare ability to channel authentic human emotion, making even the most troubled characters feel intensely relatable and profoundly human. This distinct screen presence did not develop overnight. It was forged through years of relentless dedication, a passion for storytelling, and an innate understanding of the human condition that resonated deeply with viewers across the globe. As we look back on the body of work left behind, we see an artist who was never afraid to explore the darker, more challenging corners of the human experience, bringing a sense of honesty and gravity to every single frame they occupied. As the late months of the year began to settle in, bringing a natural sense of transition and reflection, an underlying sense of unease began to ripple through the close-knit community of creators and admirers who had followed this journey for so long. The entertainment world, which often moves at an unforgiving breakneck pace, was suddenly forced to stand still as initial fragmented reports began to emerge from the sprawling metropolis of Los Angeles, a city known just as much for harboring immense artistic dreams as it is for its profound isolation. The early whispers carried a weight that immediately signaled a profound shift, suggesting that a vibrant light had been extinguished far too soon, leaving an unfillable void in the hearts of those who knew the performer personally and professionally. In the immediate aftermath of such news, the public is often left suspended in a state of disbelief, hoping against hope that the initial murmurs are merely a product of the modern media's chaotic rush for information rather than the stark, unyielding reality of a permanent departure. Yet, as the hours progressed and the silence from official channels grew heavier, the gravity of the situation became undeniable, marking the beginning of a deeply painful chapter for a family, a community, and a global audience left to mourn a devastating loss. The process of coming to terms with an abrupt farewell is an inherently slow and painful endeavor, filled with a myriad of unanswered questions that linger long after the initial shock has subsided. In the wake of the tragedy, the focus naturally shifts from the public persona to the private reality, as those left behind attempt to navigate the immense architecture of grief while honoring the profound impact of a life well lived. The city of Los Angeles, with its endless avenues and bright lights, became the backdrop for a quiet, deeply personal investigation into the final moments of an actor who had given so much of themselves to the public, yet kept their deepest vulnerabilities shielded from the relentless glare of the spotlight. As investigators and medical professionals began their meticulous work to establish an official record of the events, the surrounding world could only watch from a distance, offering thoughts, memories, and tributes to a man whose artistry had touched so many lives. This initial phase of mourning is characterized by a collective reaching out, a desire to find comfort in shared experiences and to remember the warmth, humor, and dedication that defined the individual long before the final. Tragic headlines took hold of the public consciousness as we stand on the threshold of uncovering the deeper, more painful truths that have recently come to light through official documentation. It is essential to remember the broader context of this narrative, which is fundamentally a story about human vulnerability and the enduring strength of those who are left to carry the torch of memory. The legacy of an artist is not defined solely by the manner of their departure, but by the entirety of the path they walked, the lives they touched, the art they created, and the love they shared with their closest confidants. In the chapters that follow, we will carefully examine the specific, newly released details that have emerged from official medical reports, detailing the stark realities of that December period and the profound aftermath that continues to reverberate through the lives of a devoted family. We will explore how a widow and 2 young children have begun the agonizing process of healing, finding solace in community and celebrating the milestones of life amidst an overarching shadow of loss. For now, the atmosphere remains one of quiet contemplation, a respectful pause as we prepare to confront the difficult realities of a narrative that reminds us all of the profound importance of compassion, understanding, and the vital need to support one another through the darkest storms of life. The transition from the initial shock of a sudden passing to the stark, unyielding clarity of official documentation is often one of the most painful phases of the grieving process, as the abstract nature of loss is replaced by the clinical reality of an investigator's final assessment. In recent days, the public and the entertainment community have been forced to confront this difficult transition as the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office finalized and released its comprehensive autopsy report concerning the untimely death of James Ransone. This detailed document, compiled through meticulous scientific evaluation and thorough field investigation, sheds a somber and definitive light on the final hours of the 46-year-old actor, removing the lingering ambiguities that often surround a sudden departure in the heart of Los Angeles. For months following that devastating December day, friends, family, and a global network of dedicated fans held on to their memories of a vibrant, deeply talented individual. But the emergence of these official findings forces a collective confrontation with the raw, unfiltered truth of a deeply private struggle that culminated in an absolute tragedy. Among the most poignant and unexpected revelations contained within the medical examiner's exhaustive file is the explicit confirmation regarding the absence of any final written message left behind at the scene. In many instances of sudden self-inflicted tragedy, the presence of a note provides a tragic form of closure, offering a final glimpse into the state of mind or the ultimate wishes of the individual. Yet in this case, investigators discovered that the acclaimed actor did not leave behind a suicide note of any kind before his passing. The lack of a written farewell introduces an entirely new layer of sorrow for those left behind, leaving a profound and permanent silence where words of explanation, comfort, or goodbye might have otherwise resided. This absence of a written narrative underscores the chaotic, overwhelming immediacy of the crisis, suggesting a deeply personal battle that reached its breaking point without the opportunity or desire to articulate the underlying pain to the outside world, leaving his family and the authorities to reconstruct the timeline solely through physical evidence and the administrative records of emergency service interactions, while a written note was entirely missing from the residence. The detailed reports compiled by the responding law enforcement officers and forensic investigators reveal a critical backstory involving the actor's interactions with emergency personnel prior to the fatal event. According to the official documentation obtained and published by media outlets, James Ransone had explicitly communicated a profound sense of psychological distress, stating directly to individuals involved in his care that he wanted to kill himself, an admission that immediately necessitated an urgent protective transport to a local hospital facility. This devastating detail reveals that there were active, visible warning signs and an explicit acknowledgement of an impending mental health crisis, illustrating a desperate struggle where medical intervention was actively sought to preserve his life. The realization that such an explicit cry for help occurred, followed by the subsequent tragic outcome, injects an immense amount of tension and heartbreak into the narrative. highlighting the complex and often fragile nature of crisis management when an individual is grappling with severe, overwhelming emotional trauma. The physical reality of the scene where the actor was ultimately discovered further substantiates the medical examiner's formal conclusion regarding the manner and cause of death, painting a stark picture of the finality of the event. The autopsy report documents the presence of distinct ligature marks around the performer's neck, physical indicators that the forensic pathologist noted were entirely consistent with the mechanics of a death by hanging, thereby confirming the initial hypotheses formulated by responding officers. Furthermore, the extensive toxicological and physical sweep of the immediate environment revealed the presence of various prescription medications on the scene, a discovery that adds another dimension to the understanding of the circumstances surrounding his final hours, though authorities have maintained that the primary mechanism of death remained entirely physical. When emergency units and local police officers initially arrived at the location in December, they conducted a comprehensive review of the premises and explicitly stated that they found absolutely no signs of foul play, effectively ruling out any external criminal involvement and cementing the determination that this was a deeply tragic, entirely self-inflicted act of desperation. The release of these clinical details has naturally amplified the collective grief of an audience that had watched James Ransone masterfully navigate some of the most intense, demanding roles in modern television and film history. To reconcile the image of a powerful, energetic, and deeply expressive actor with the devastating imagery contained in a medical examiner's autopsy report is an incredibly difficult task for the public, creating a profound sense of national and international mourning. The contrast between the public brilliance of his artistic contributions and the private, silent suffering revealed by the prescription drugs and the absence of a note creates a heavy, lingering tension that forces a deeper look into the systemic pressures and personal vulnerabilities that exist beneath the surface of Hollywood success. As the media began to disseminate these newly uncovered facts, the reality of the loss truly settled in, transforming a distant piece of news into an intimate, heartbreaking portrait of a man who gave everything to his craft while carrying a heavy, unseen burden that ultimately proved too great to bear in the quiet confines of his final days. As the shocking details of the autopsy report continue to settle within the public consciousness, the narrative naturally shifts away from the immediate, clinical facts of the tragedy toward the profound human wreckage left in its wake, highlighting the devastating impact on those who form the core of the actor's personal universe. A tragedy of this magnitude never occurs in a vacuum. Its ripples extend outward, permanently altering the lives of a devoted spouse and young children who must now navigate a reality completely devoid of a husband and father's presence. In the upcoming final segment of our report, we will move beyond the stark findings of the Los Angeles Medical Examiner to explore the deeply moving journey of survival, resilience, and remembrance that has defined the months following this immense loss. We will look closely at how his widow, Jamie McPhee, has publicly and privately stood as a pillar of strength for their two children, Jack and Violet, transforming her profound grief into a message of enduring love and community support. The story of James Ransone is far from over, as his ultimate legacy now rests in the hands of the family he adored and the artistic community that continues to honor his unforgettable journey through the landscape of American culture. The full revelation of the medical examiner's report does not merely close an investigative chapter, it opens a profound space for reflecting on the complex, remarkable life of James Ransone, a man whose 46 years on this earth were marked by intense creativity, immense personal resilience, and an unwavering commitment to his artistic calling. Born and raised in the historic city of Baltimore, Maryland, Ransone possessed a raw, authentic energy that deeply mirrored the gritty, working-class landscape of his youth, a background that heavily informed his breakthrough performance as Ziggy Sobotka in the critically acclaimed second season of the groundbreaking television masterpiece, The Wire. His portrayal of the deeply troubled, erratic dock worker remains etched in television history as a masterclass in tragic vulnerability, capturing the essence of an individual desperately seeking validation while caught in a descending spiral of structural decay and personal isolation. This defining role established him as an actor capable of channeling extreme emotional depth, a reputation he would continuously build upon throughout a career that spanned more than 2 decades across television, independent film, and massive Hollywood cinematic universes. His colleagues repeatedly noted his unique ability to bring absolute honesty to the screen, whether he was navigating the harsh realities of military life in the acclaimed miniseries Generation Kill, exploring the dark, atmospheric horror of the Sinister franchise, or portraying the older, deeply anxious Eddie Kaspbrak in the global box office phenomenon It Chapter 2. Bobby Bones' iHeart.com show, beyond the bright lights of his professional success, James Ransone's life was deeply rooted in his role as a devoted family man, a husband, and a father who fiercely cherished the quiet sanctuary of his personal life away from the demanding machinery of the entertainment capital. In the year 2017, he solidified his life's most meaningful partnership by tying the knot with his beloved wife, Jamie McPhee, embarking on a shared journey that would bring two beautiful children into the world, their 7-year-old son, Jack, and their 5-year-old daughter, Violet. Those within their immediate social circle frequently described the family unit as incredibly close-knit, a vibrant household filled with laughter, mutual support, and a profound dedication to nurturing their young children amidst the often chaotic environment of Los Angeles. The sudden, agonizing loss of the family's patriarch in the cold days of December left an unimaginable void, transforming what should have been a festive season of celebration into a time of deep, collective mourning as a young widow was suddenly tasked with the monumental responsibility of guiding two small children through the dark, uncharted waters of immense personal trauma. The depth of this family's ongoing journey toward healing was beautifully and heartbreakingly highlighted several months after the tragedy, when Jamie McPhee broke her silence in a deeply moving social media tribute marking a significant family milestone. In a poignant update shared with friends and followers during the spring month of May, she commemorated their son Jack's 7th birthday, offering a rare, touching glimpse into the emotional reality of their household as they navigated life after loss. Describing her young son as the most handsome, stubborn, funny, affectionate, and strong boy, she expressed a fierce maternal pride and unconditional love, stating that they wouldn't want it any other way and sending a message of love to the moon and back. This public celebration of life amidst the lingering shadow of a profound family tragedy served as a powerful testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit, illustrating how a mother's devotion can create a safe, celebratory space for her children, even when her own heart is carrying an immense, heavy burden of grief. USMagazine.com. In that same emotional update, the actor's widow took a moment to express a profound sense of gratitude to the extensive network of friends, relatives, and well-wishers who had stepped forward to support the family during the darkest months of their lives. Acknowledging that it truly takes a village to raise children and sustain a family through a crisis of this magnitude, she extended a heartfelt thank you to everyone who had provided support, love, kindness, food, tears, and laughs during the 5 months that had passed since her husband's untimely departure. Her words cast a comforting light on the vital importance of community care, showing that while the pain of such a loss never truly disappears, the collective warmth and practical assistance of loved ones can provide the essential scaffolding needed to reconstruct a life after it has been completely shattered by tragedy. At the conclusion of her moving message, she shared an incredibly profound realization, noting that she could finally see that every single day is a gift after losing her husband. A perspective that allowed them to celebrate Jack's birthday together with a spirit of gratitude and renewal. The tragic passing of James Ransone ultimately serves as a stark, urgent reminder of the hidden battles that so many individuals fight in silence, emphasizing the profound reality that professional success and public recognition cannot immunize a person against the heavy, overwhelming weight of psychological suffering. It prompts a vital, necessary conversation within the broader cultural landscape about the absolute importance of destigmatizing mental health challenges, encouraging open communication, and ensuring that individuals in crisis feel safe enough to reach out for the professional help they desperately need. The pain of his departure underscores the fact that those who give so much of themselves to create art and bring comfort to millions of viewers often require the greatest amount of tenderness, care, and protection in their private lives. As the artistic community continues to honor the enduring legacy of his unforgettable performances, his family stands as a living testament to resilience. Find the courage to celebrate life, cherish every single moment, and carry his memory forward into a brighter future. For anyone who may be experiencing overwhelming distress, encountering severe psychological challenges, or finding themselves affected by the heartbreaking themes raised in this narrative, It is important to know that you are never alone, and immediate confidential support is always available by calling or texting the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988.